Congratulations, you clicked on the link, and that means that you are in this place of self-inquiry and growth, and that is amazing. That's an amazing place to be, so savor every second of it, and I'm pretty excited to share these 4 points with you. So the long short of it is that we all have a limit on happiness and success, right? Which sounds kind of crazy because we have these big dreams and we have these big aspirations, and why would we have limitations, right? So we all have this idea of who we think we are, right? And a lot of times these ideas come from foundational experiences that we've had in life, and we're really just adopting what other people have told us about ourselves and wear it as if it is us, right? Most of us don't even realize that this is happening until something very pivotal in life comes along and it busts it into the forefront. But a lot of people are walking around with these labels that they're not even in alignment with who they are. It's just something that somebody told them at a time in their life that they didn't know that distinction, and they just took it on as if it was theirs, and they just kept it there and never looked at it again, right? It's like if you put this jacket on and I just started to believe it was my skin and I never saw it, right? So the place of doing this self-inquiry is so that we can start to see those things and we can start to take them off, especially when they're no longer in alignment with ourselves, or they're actually even impeding our personal growth. And our personal growth has everything to do with our personal happiness and our personal success, right? So if you find that you bump up into these walls, or you get somewhere and it's all going great and then all of a sudden it, falls apart, or it goes even backwards, right? You probably are having what a lot of us have, which is this limit on how much happiness and success we think that we deserve, right? So why is this really important? Well, the really important thing about all of this is that means that all of the power to shift this lies exclusively with you, right? I'm going to say that again. All of the power to shift this lies exclusively with you. So for me, in this journey that I've taken, I read a book and it talked about this. And when that actually clicked, because I was in the place for it to click, it started to change my life in a 180-degree difference, right? Because up until that point, I had adopted a victim mindset. A lot of us have that, right? It's somebody else's fault, it's circumstantial issues, this, that, and the other, right? What this work does, and what understanding that things are happening for you rather than to you does, is take the power away from everybody else, but put the power solely back in your seat. And that's a little scary, because that means that you really cannot blame anything or anyone else for you, right? That means that you have to take complete responsibility of everything that's happening in your life. Not 50%, not 70%, not 95%, 100% of that responsibility lies with you. And a way to get more confident in that, and the way to get more successful in that, is to know yourself better, okay? And in specifically talking about this, knowing where our limitations are and our self-beliefs are on how much happiness and success we think we deserve. It sounds really crazy because who would ever want to limit their happiness and success, right? It just doesn't make any sense. But I rest assured, I promise you, everybody has a ceiling to that. And our job here is to see where that ceiling is and to shatter it, okay? So I'm going to jump into the questions right now. I want you to grab a pen and paper so that you can write this down. You're just going to document this, and you can go back to these questions because sometimes it doesn't always immediately click, right? Because sometimes you don't want to see certain things about yourself, so your gut reaction might be no, that's not me. And then if you review it with a little bit more time, all of a sudden you might be oh, maybe that is me. Okay, so get a piece of pen and paper, and you're going to write these down, and you're going to also mark down which ones apply to you. Okay, so question or belief system number 1. You have the false belief that you, or we as a whole, are fundamentally flawed in some way, right? So you believe that you are fundamentally flawed in some way, that you're broken in some kind of fashion. If that applies to you and if that resonates with you, mark that down, okay? Number 2 is, It's the belief that by succeeding, you are being disloyal and leaving people behind um, from our past, right? So if you're going to succeed, you're being disloyal and leaving people behind. And so that might be like if you start doing better than your peers, that you're being disloyal to them. You're losing that tribe element, and you're stepping out on your own, and it feels like you're cheating them of something, right? So if that one applies to you, write that down. Okay. Number 3 is the belief system that you are a burden to the world. Okay, and it sounds like a little bit radical, but think about it. Like if you find yourself struggling to ask for help, or you find yourself struggling to accept help, that is a ripple effect from feeling like you're a burden to this world, right? So you ask for less, right? You don't push boundaries or barriers or things like that because you feel like you're a burden, and you don't want to be a burden. So keep yourself small. So if that one resonates, go ahead, write that down. And then number 4 is you dim your bright light of brilliance so that you don't outshine someone in your past. Okay? So you dim your bright light of brilliance so you don't outshine someone in your past. So a lot of times we experience this one with classmates and parents and siblings, right? So maybe you're really good at something and your parents put a lot of praise on you for being super good at it as a child, and you see the impact that it has on like your sibling, and it makes you feel bad, and you start to not be as good. You start to not excel as much because you don't want your sibling to feel threatened by that or to feel badly about themselves. Okay, so if that one resonates with you, go ahead, write that one down too. Okay, so those are the 4 questions. And I know these 4 questions for myself are really, really powerful. They have helped me see very disguised aspects of myself and my own personal belief system. A lot of this stuff is adopted, right? So for example, like in school, if you were a kid that was really enthusiastic and you loved answering questions and you loved speaking out and you loved engaging, but you had a teacher with their own stuff, as everybody does, right? Projecting their personal belief of you're too much onto you, it probably made you feel bad. And as a kid, you kind of see a lot more in black and white, and you start to literally directly equate being forthright or being enthusiastic is bad. And you didn't want to be bad. So you started to change that. And then maybe you find yourself as an adult, actually as a really, really shy adult. And inside you have this like burning desire to actually like step out into the spotlight and to be in the forefront. But then you have this crippling effect that prevents you from getting there. And you supplement that with things that are destructive, like procrastination, never, pushing your own boundaries and staying safe, and making a whole bunch of excuses and blaming everything and everyone else for yourself, comparison, competition with other people, right? So there's all these crazy things that we start to do to validate our belief system. And so when we're in this space of getting rid of our belief system that no longer fits us, we need to first see what we're working with, okay? So if you look at your list and you have 2 or more checked, you are definitely in a space where you have a lot more room that you can grow and expand as a person, okay? And you're on that track right now to getting there. You're starting that ball rolling, you're getting the wheels spinning, and you're starting to inquire and look at self, okay? Take this list and look at it. If you want to start to work on this stuff, if you want to start to inquire about more and understand how you can start to shift these belief systems or start to figure them out in more detail so that you can let them go, and bring some healing into that space and expand your ability to receive happiness and success, feel free to reach out to me. Start to look for books that also help you with your self-inquiry, and start asking some questions. I'd be really curious from a lot of you if these resonate and ring true, and if they kind of are a little bit of a light bulb moment for illumination of yourself and the ways that maybe you are holding yourself back because you believe that you don't deserve that much happiness and success. Okay? So I really appreciate you taking the time and asking yourself these questions, and you should appreciate yourself for taking the time and asking these questions about yourself and being committed to your growth and your happiness. So thank you so much, and I look really forward to hearing back from you guys. Have an awesome night.